Now let's get beyond that. It's absolutely dishonest. If you're going to sit up there and tell me you're going to insure 140,000 new people in this community with the same number of doctors, same number of nurses, and do it for less money, you're either colossally stupid or a liar. There's no way you can do both.
Your response, Mr. Filner.
Well, you know, since I'm neither, maybe, just maybe, folks, there is some legitimacy to my argument. You know, I had meetings all over my district. You said I didn't have a town meeting. I had dozens and dozens of meetings all over the district. I had telephone town hall meetings. I will tell you that the vast majority of this district wanted me to vote for that health care bill. Do you want me to ask how many of you live in our district? How many live in our district? I will tell you, I had those meetings, and I would like to have this election as a referendum on the health care bill. I'll take that on, Mr. Popaditch.
Next question, please.
Mr. Popaditch, the Imperial Valley has one of the highest unemployment rates in the nation. What are you going to do to fix this?
Okay, and I would refer back to my platform. I've been very consistent on all the way through. We're going to lower taxes to bring jobs back. We're going to lower them on small business, big business, everybody in our community. We're going to keep the revenue here in our district. If we lower the price, if we lower the tax on everybody in our community, that revenue stays here. It doesn't go off to Washington, D.C. I'm sick and tired of this government because all those things he's promising, those are all things you're going to have to come crawling to Prince Filner for, and I don't think that's the way this government's meant to be run. You keep the revenue in your district. You grow your business. You grow whatever. You have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The government needs to stay the heck out of your way, would deregulate to bring those green jobs back. Again, I pass a windmill every time out here and every time back, and it's sitting on Indian reservation because of the deregulation. It's turning a profit there. We can have these things out there. We just need to do them the right way and stop propping them up. And I tell you, as far as don't pull the rug out from under me, if you try and prop this green energy up the wrong way instead of making it profitable, it's going to get pulled out from under you. I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to see that happen to my neighbor, to my fellow American. And again, let's get rid of the unknowns. Obamacare, cap and trade, and stimulus are stopping individuals from hiring. When they took over stimulus, they had a 7.5% unemployment rate. After a year, they took it up to 10.5% unemployment rate. Took it up 40%, and then sat there and looked at us and told us how many jobs they saved. That's dishonest government. Absolutely dishonest government. Keep the revenue in the hands of the private sector. And I tell you, I'm getting sick and tired of this transfer, this move into socialism. You take over the auto industry. You take over the auto industry, you take over the healthcare industry, and you take over the finance industry. You own over half the GDP. That's socialism. I'm going there to draw a line in the sand. Economic freedom. You deserve opportunity on your street, not a government socialism. Economic freedom. That's what I'm taking with me.
Your rebuttal, Mr. Filner.
Let me repeat that both the House and the Senate tried to pass the renewal of the so-called Bush tax cuts for 98% of Americans. The Republicans stopped it by they held it hot. They held their 2% of their wealthiest of Americans, millionaires and billionaires, as a hostage to us regular middle-class Americans. So that's what he's really saying. He keeps saying tax cuts for you. We wanted to pass tax cuts for you. They stopped it. They stopped it because they wanted the top 2% to be included. So let us have some of the facts here. So, you know, we hear this incredible stuff that, I mean, I don't know what ideology we're coming from. We have a private healthcare system. We have a private system here. Nobody has taken over the healthcare system. Come on. Everybody has their choice of doctor, their choice of hospital, their choice whatever. Do I get some extra time because of all the adulation from the crowd?
10 seconds.
Let me just say, this is far more complicated than Mr. Popaditch does. When we're talking about the economy of the Imperial County, We're talking about jobs. We're talking about green energy. We're talking about health care. We're talking about the environment. We have to move on all those fronts. It's not just a simple slogan of cut the taxes down.
Your response, Mr. Popaditch.
Again, there it is. We're just not smart enough to get it. We need Bob Filner to do our thinking for us. Hey, I'm a gunny. I'm a simple man. I will listen to you because I know out there are all the answers. I will listen to you and I will fight for you. I'm not going to sit up there and act like I know more than everybody in this community. I'll listen to you and I'll fight for you.
Next question, please.
Mr. Filner, is Social Security worth saving?
Of course. It was probably one of the greatest acts that was passed in this country in the 20th century, and allowed people to have a certain amount of dignity in their older years, allowed the people not to worry about their parents because they had this level of dignity. If you follow the logic of the platform of Mr. Popaditch, you have to get to cutting Social Security and Medicare. Because what he says is raise the defense budget, which is already the biggest thing in the head, cut the taxes of those who are the wealthiest amongst us, and balance the budget. There ain't nothing left, folks, except Social Security and Medicare. You can close every agency you want, education, energy, anything, and those add up to this much. The only way you can have a balanced budget by following the logic which exists, although he just repeats the first things, is to cut Social Security and Medicare. That's the logic of this position here. So if you want to save Social Security, you want to save Medicare, expand, in fact, the kind of dignity and the kind of life that provides for seniors, then you better take that into account. Let me point out that before Social Security and Medicare passed, 80% of our seniors of this nation lived in poverty. Since those passed, it's reversed. 80% do not live in poverty. Let us not privatize, as the Republicans want to do. Let us not cut the benefits, as the Republicans want to do. Let us not cut Medicare, as the Republicans want to do. Let's retain those things to keep the dignity of our seniors.
Your rebuttal, Mr. Popaditch.
I guess in addition to everything else, Mr. Filner, in addition to knowing more than us, he can also read minds because he can tell apparently what I'm thinking on this stuff. Now, I'll tell you what, I'm a man of honor, and I understand the difference between a promise and an entitlement. If you paid into Social Security, you paid into it your whole life, that's a promise that our government has made to you. I will never cut that. If you paid into Medicare your whole life, that's a promise. I will make sure that is never cut. I will go there and fight for you, as opposed to Mr. Filner, who's accusing me of that, yet his very same Obamacare cut the Medicare. He's accusing me of what he did. And I tell you what, Mr. Filner, you start reading those bills, you're going to see there's plenty left to cut. There is plenty in those bills, plenty of pork.
Your response, Mr. Filner.
A famous American once said, you must be either stupid or a liar to say something like that.
That's a great American to make that statement.
I have the platform of Mr. Popaditch here. It says, national defense, cut the taxes of everybody, safer borders, et cetera, et cetera. A balanced budget. The logic of that only leads to one thing. Only leads to one thing, because there is nothing to cut. There is nothing to cut besides Social Security and Medicare if you buy his program here.
Your response.
Am I still up on this?
No.
Yeah.
We're done. Next
Oh.
question,
Thank you.
please.
Mr. Popaditch, how do you feel about the estate tax, better known as the death tax to some?
Very quick, because I really don't like to speak to things that I don't have a large knowledge base about, but one thing I know is that the estate tax, if you spent your whole life building a business, if you spent your whole life working hard, and you work for things to pass down to your family, who the heck is a government to come and say, you know what, we're going to give it to somebody else? So I absolutely support cutting the estate tax. You earned it. You worked your whole life for it. The least you can do is pass it on to your family.
Your rebuttal, Mr. Filner.
The estate tax, the cutting of the estate tax is incredibly important to an agricultural community like Imperial County. If the farm is to be passed on to the family, also for farming, as many of the farmers here want to do, then the estate tax should be cut, in fact eliminated, for those who, and I have voted for elimination of the estate tax. You're only for cutting it. Elimination of the estate tax if the family farm stays in the family. We should encourage that, and we should have our tax laws encourage it. And I'm for elimination of this estate tax where it can stay into if your business stays in the family.
Response, Mr. Popaditch. Mr. Popaditch, you have a response?
No, I'm good. I think we actually found something we agree on.
Thank you.
Mr. Filner, do you support small business?
Of course. We know that small business is the engine, as we have heard, of the job creation in this country. And most of the bills that we have passed in the last 2 years have, in fact, helped small business. Look at the health care bill. In fact, if you want to read the whole thing, says that small business, if they want to provide health care to their employees, and many want to and don't because of the expense, they get a 50% tax rebate for providing health care to their employees. That's a great thing to help small business. We just passed, before we left for recess, we just passed a bill that opens the capital markets and provides a better way to get capital very quickly. And our whole renewable energy program, which I've been working, as I said, with all the local officials in this county, the renewable energy industry is based on small business. You can't monopolize the sun. You can't monopolize the earth. You cannot monopolize the wind like the few oil companies do for the oil industry. So it will be a small business industry. That's what we need here in the Imperial County. That's, as I said earlier, that's our future, and that's what we should be encouraging. And in fact, that stimulus bill is the answer. It has tens of billions of dollars to help the Imperial County start its path to become the alternative energy capital of the world.
Your rebuttal, Mr. Popaditch.
Is it for me? Okay. He says that he supports small business, but what has he been up here for 45 minutes talking about, that millionaire tax? Well, that millionaire tax isn't actually a millionaire tax. It's those over $200,000 for a home and $250,000 for sole proprietors. That's 75% of small business. That's 1 million small businesses out there he's talking about raising the taxes on. So, I mean, there's what you say and there's what you do. The government account, the CBO scored this, that it was going to cost us 2.4 million jobs if we did this, if we did not get this Bush tax cut for that wealthiest of Americans. 2.4 million jobs. I tell you what, you could say one thing, but if you're talking about raising the tax on them, you're talking about something else. And as far as cap and trade is one of those big unknowns on our small business. You're going to raise the operating cost of every small business out there. You voted for that. Voted for cap and trade that's going to raise operating costs in every small business. So he's talking about raising the taxes on every small business and raising the operating costs in every small business. I don't know, with friends like that, I don't think I need enemies.
Mr. Filner, your response.
Yeah, Mr. Popaditch is wrong about the statistics of the tax cuts. There are a couple percent of small businesses who are in that upper category. But if the Republicans would work with us, we could exempt those. That's easy. That's an easy compromise. But what the Republicans said was no, 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 no. And so we couldn't even negotiate an exemption for small business. They held hostage the richest Americans and prevented your tax cuts in favor of their of